Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everybody around the world. Welcome back to another One Piece video featuring your boy, Doflamingo. Get ready for a very, very spicy deck profile featuring EB01 and OP06, in which I'm very excited to bring to you guys. Although, Dofi being my favorite character, of course, we have to take a look at Blue Dofi for EB01 and OP07, so stay tuned for that one as well. In any case, we're going to take a look at this deck here and see what we're cooking up and what we've been playing with when it comes to OP06, EB01, and how this deck fares in the current metagame. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. We're going to be kicking it off with 10 2K counters, be it 4 Kaya. These are going to be pretty staple, pretty mandatory. These allow you to cycle out dead cards in your hand, whether you get like a bunch of Edward Weevils, Kaidos in the early game, just a bunch of dead cards. She allows you to draw 2 and trash 2 from your hand, which is pretty solid. Also, she's going to be very, very key in certain scenarios, in which we'll get into it with different combinations and all that sort of thing. On top of that, we are running with 2 Gion. Now, you can change this out for any other 2K if you choose to. This is just in this list here specifically because there is a deck running around called Nami. If you guys are familiar with what she does, she likes to mill cards, right, to win games. Gion allows you to... Gion, however you want to say it. She allows you to make sure any event that gets activated from your opponent while this card's on board, they have to take 1 card from their hand and place it on the bottom of the deck. So this really helps you out in that matchup. And then, of course, the 4 Mihawks. 10 to 12 2Ks is going to be my optimal sweet spot for this build, for these decks here when it comes to Blue Dofi. And I say decks because we're going to be looking at 2 different decks today in these videos. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, Mihawk here definitely has to be included on the fact that he is a warlord. He can be triggered off your deck with Dofi if need be. I don't really advise it unless you have a bunch of dead cards in your hand, such as like your big bodies in the early game here, and you need to cycle them through. But essentially, he's able to be picked back out of the grave with Gecko Moria, which is really, really nice. Gecko Moria allows you to draw any card that's a Thriller Bark or a Warlord of the Sea other than Gecko Moria from your trash and add it back to your hand. So if you counter out, for example, this goes to the trash, you can play this down, get the 2K back. It's a cycle. It's really, really good here. Pretty consistent. Of course, we keep up with the 1 drop of Perona. This allows you to, if you're going first and or second, this allows you to, start stacking your deck to make sure you're able to pop cards off with Dofi. Getting bodies on board is a tempo game here, in which a lot of decks can't really deal with, especially when you're spamming the board with a lot of bodies. So decks such as like Sakazuki, Moria, Law, those are your big control decks here in the format, and being able to get multiple bodies down in a turn, for some decks it's very hard to deal with, you know what I mean? Especially we can do this every single turn with Dofi ability for free. And then, of course, we are running the brand new card that came out in EB01, Edward Weevil. Do not sleep on this guy. He's very, very good. Although he doesn't have any counter power, he's a 7K with 1 Dawn invested, and he draws you a card, and he can be cheated out with Dofi ability. So, in other words, you stack your deck, put him on top, get him cheated out on board, then he draws you another free card. So he's a +1 and a 6K body at the same time, which is pretty good, right? And then, of course, we are keeping the 4 Boas. Boa is going to be essential, I think, for Dofi here. Even though most of the time her ability doesn't get to be activated, because she's kind of like, as soon as it hits the board, your opponent wants to kill it. Which is okay, because that means you're not taking life, right? See? Makes sense. And then we are running with the 4 Gecko Moria. This is kind of a staple card here for Dofi as well, unfortunately. It's really good. It's a 6K vanilla. Not really much else to say about it. Just do keep in mind it cannot be brought back with this Gecko Moria. Even though it's a different card, it's still Gecko Moria, so you cannot cycle this back from trash. And then, of course, we're running 4 Jinbei. Jinbei used to be a very, very expensive card. Not saying he's still not expensive. He's like $20 a pop, give or take. But he's still relevant here in Dofi. He's very good into decks such as like Yellow with Katakuri. That way you're able to bounce back Peril Sparrows when this card goes to the trash. Eventually they have to deal with it when they're safe. And if that's the case, this guy is hitting for 5 to 7K depending on what Dawn investment you want to attach to him. he's hitting the magic number, he's doing his thing. When he's finally removed on KO, he has that ability where he can bounce at 3 costs or less the owner's deck. Now, this does not counter out Law. We're talking about red-purple Law, considering he just automatically just removes it from play, bottom exit, or whatever. That's not the same thing as KO, so do keep that in mind. And then we're going to be keeping up with 2 more Duvals here in this build, on top of the 4 Peronas that we have and the 4 Dofis that we have. I didn't figure Dofi needed an explanation. Same thing as Perona. A blocker does the same thing. Duval is similar to both of them, except for he's able to look at 3 cards instead of 5. He's very good if you're going second. That way you can start off with him first instead of dropping a Perona. So ideally, if you do have her in hand and Duval in hand, typically I like to drop Duval first, because when you're playing into decks such as like Enel, for example, they decide to like attach all Dawn and just swing at you. And if you have a Perona on board, you're more opted just to take the hit, right? But if you have a Duval on board, you could block it out if need be. But overall, this is going to be a very, very fun deck to get into. We will look at deck number 2 here, after we talk about our big key pieces, being Kaidos. This particular build here, I like to go second. That way, we can get up to 10 Dawn a little bit quicker. And if your opponent's at 3 or less life, when Kaido hits the board, you draw 4 more cards. So this is a deck that's going to allow you to draw a lot, considering Weevil, Kaido, you're able to cycle through very, very easily with Kaya and Mihawk, let alone with the other Kaido here. This allows you to bounce an 8-drop back to the opponent's hand and a 3-drop back to the owner's hand. So in other words, if you have a Kaya on board, if you have a Perona on board, one or the other, give or take, you can bounce back one of your opponent's cards and bounce back a 1-drop to your hand and play it back down. Do the thing. It's pretty solid together. And then, of course, our only 2 events that we are going to be running is Gravity Raging Tiger. This is very good in certain matchups, Reiju, and Purple Red Law. That's generally about it. Some Moria decks you're able to get this off, but be a little bit mindful. It's a 7 cost, so it's a huge tempo play. If you drop this, you have enough just to do Dofi's leader effect. And if you don't know what's on top of your deck here, it could be very, very bad. If you don't run into like Peronas, Dofis, or Duvals, it can happen. You could be like, you could whiff pretty hard sometimes, right? Let's be fair. But this allows you to remove a wide body or wide board. Either way, let's go ahead and show you guys the other variation that we are going to be playing today. Now, this is going to be for those who enjoy the old Sanji Mihawk combination. This is going to be a very, very solid deck here, especially if you want to go first and or second. I would advise you to go first, more so with this build, just the curve and the odd number. Now, this does similar things to the previous build, except for this time around, you are looking to stack your deck with your Sanjis, your Mihawks, and your Doflamingos. Some people don't like this card, but on curve, on tempo, this is a very, very big switch into your favor. You get in this on board early game, on curve, you're bouncing something back at 7 costs or less to your owner's hands, whether that's like a Sabo for like Red Yellow Luffy, or any other like blocker when you're trying to go for game. Because again, 7 Dawn, drop this down. This can swing 7 and or 8k or 7 and bounce something on top of your deck on the field, which is pretty good. But ideally, you want to get off the whole Mihawk and the Sanji combination, and the deck allows you to do it with all of the deck stacking cards you have, with the Dofi, the Perona, the Duval. You got it going on. This one is more so aggressive than the other one. We aren't running any events here in this list. I opted to have removal solely through your characters, such as Mihawk, your Doflamingo here, and your Jinbei, when he does go through the KO. But in any case, we're going to be playing a bunch of games today. We'll probably get around, I'm looking to do at least maybe like 8-10 games. I don't know, depending on how long they are. Let's dive into some fun. I'll see you guys in a split second. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, before we dive into today's games, we are going to talk about opening hands here with the variant of Mihawk and Sanji, and then we'll talk about opening hands for the Kaido variant as well. I feel like doing this here, it helps out newer players. It also helps out people who are wanting to learn how the leader works, how the deck works, and all that sort of thing. Instead of going in blindly, just watching content here. Now, for those of you who are interested in playing Doflamingo, he is a leader that came out in OP01. What he allows you to do, if you attach 2 Dawn to this leader, you spend 1 Dawn, you swing for 7k, the Dawn that you spent pays for you using the ability. You look at the top card of your deck. If it's a warlord, such as like Weevil, like Jinbei, Gecko Moria, Mihawk, Boa, Moria, etc., you can play it on board for free. It comes in rested though, but it's still another body that's on board for the following turn. Now, some of your cards here, like Moria, do have an on-play ability. So for example, if you play this off of your leader ability, Moria can hit the board and then grab something from the trash that's a Thriller Bark and or a 7 Warlords of the Sea, other than himself, and add it to your hand. So any of these cards that you see here, he can grab from the trash and put in your hand, other than himself, Moria, of course Kaya and Pudding and Duval. But he grab everything else here, which is really, really nice. Now, for your opening hand going first and or second, you're looking to grab yourself Doflamingo, Perona, or Duval. One or the other. If you get 2 of these, great. If you just get 1, it's okay. Because ideally, you're looking to set up the top 5 cards of your deck no matter what. You never really want to go into this blindly as Dofi, but there are certain moments where you can just trigger your leader ability and get something off top of your life, or sorry, something off top of your deck. Because we run with so many, Warlords of the Sea. But ideally, you want to make sure it's stacked up in a way where, for example, let's say your first swing that you do, you get yourself Edward Weevil, right? Edward Weevil hits the board. He's a 6k body with 1 Don attached. He becomes a 7k. Pretty good. But he allows you to draw a card. So if you decided to stack your deck in a way where you play Weevil down with your leader ability, he draws you a card, which can be like a 2k counter. Your Kaya, your Mihawk, or your Gion, for example, depending on if you're playing against Nami. And then on the following turn, you draw the next card that you stacked up there with Dofi, which could be like a Doflamingo here, Perona, or something else of that nature. You attach 2 Don, and you do the whole thing again. You want to ideally have A, B, or C. That way you guys can set up your plays for late game. Considering in the late game, you guys are looking for things like Mihawk, Doflamingo, and then Sanji. So being able to stack your deck in a way that you can play down Sanji to trigger into another unit here, such as like a Weevil or Dofi or Mihawk, it allows for huge tempo plays in your favor. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and go over this one real quick. This is going to be the Kaido variant of my Dofi decks here for EB01. We're going to talk about hands, your opening hands, and all that sort of thing before we start diving into a bunch of games today. Now, the games that we are going to start playing, we'll probably start off with this deck, and then over time, we'll swap into the other one. You'll be able to tell when we do swap, but overall, that's what we're going to be doing today. In any case, your opening hands for this deck, kind of similar to the other one, go as follows with your Doflamingo, your Perona, and or your Duvals here. Now, there is another card in which is an honorable mention that I did not include into either one of these builds, which is X-Drake. He does the exact same thing as your Dofi, your Perona, and your Duval, except for Duval sees 3 cards, he sees 5, like Dofi and Perona. The thing is, the reason why he's not in this list is, for me personally, he takes up 4 slots of Warlord, right? And he's a 5-drop, which kind of makes it a little bit awkward, depending on if I play this on board, I can't activate Dofi's leader ability if I'm at 5 Don, if I play this on curve. Whereas, for example, if I've already had this on board, I already know what the next 5 cards are. So going into that turn, I can activate this ability and already have a blocker on board at the time. Whereas if I drop this down on curve, I can't play this leader ability. I only can play his leader ability next turn when I set up my life, or set up my my top 5. But he is still really good, just not for me personally here. I think he's more so suited for Queen. And in all of my Queen lists, I typically run X-Drake. I think he's very solid in that deck. Now, there are some key moments where X-Drake really does shine, and that's into decks such as Perona, and into decks such as Katakuri. Considering Katakuri swings in for 7 with 1 Don attached to it, you blocking out with this and throwing away like a 2k counter is a little bit easier. But that's generally my 2 cents when it comes to X-Drake. Now, let's get back into this real quick. With Dofi, Perona, and Duval, just like in the previous build, you're going to be looking to open with A, B, or C. This allows you to set up for all your future plays, But overall, this is how Doflamingo decks work. If you can know what's coming up next, it allows you to prepare yourself with your leader ability to get a body on board. Like we've already talked about the examples when it comes to Edward Weevil, but you always want to make sure you're playing something down with your leader ability to constantly have a body on board, because it allows you to pressure a lot of decks early, such as like Enel, Katakuri. It allows you to make sure control decks have way too many targets to remove at once, such as like Red Purple Law, Sakazuki, and Moria. Sakazuki has an easier time with this deck to remove stuff, because you guys know how that is. Whereas Gecko Moria and RP Law struggle a little bit, because being able to throw down a 6k body each and every turn, realistically, it's pretty challenging for them to remove unless they see certain key pieces. And they're not able to cycle through their deck as fast as decks like Law or Sokka can, considering the Reiju in Law and Sokka's leader ability and all the searches and all that sort of thing. But they do play cards such as Perona, right? In which, here's a little tech here for you, in which if they play down a Perona, for example, they want you to pitch a card, right? Throw a card away, discard it, what have you. Your options for that might be Weevil at the time, which is perfect, right? Because he has no counter. Throw him away. Great. If for whatever reason you have a Moria in hand, or Moria is in those top 5 cards, you can trigger it off Dofi or play it down from hand to get the Weevil back. And then if he happens to play another Perona, you could just do this again. Like, it's a never-ending cycle, essentially, which is really, really strong. But overall, these decks have been my go-to when it comes to EB01 with Doflamingo. Of course, you got yourself Pudding, and which we didn't really speak about her all too much. I think everybody by now knows that Pudding is probably one of the best blue cards ever printed in our current format. It's very strong into every single deck out there, whether it's Sakazuki, Moria, all of the good things. Now, we've included in Law in this variation, in which he's not in the other one. I like Law here just as a 2 of. Feel free to take him out if you want to like include something else here, that's fine. It's just a cheap blocker that sometimes really helps you out in a pinch. And of course, we did opt in to keep 2 Raging Tigers, which is not in the other variation either. If you don't like this card, you want to take it out, feel free. Just know that this deck itself doesn't have a lot of removal, whereas the other one does have a lot more removal. The removal in this one is going to be with Kaido and Raging Tiger, and your Jinbei more so. But overall, let's dive into a bunch of games today. I'll see you guys in a split second. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into a bunch of games today, come at you guys with Blue Dofi, which is something we don't generally do here on the channel, right? Let's be fair. But EB01 came out, and he got a bunch of new Warlord cards, be it Edward Weevil, and which really helps this deck shine with consistency, which is something that it struggled with before when it comes to draws. But now that we have Weevil here, who's also Warlord, allows you to get +1 with a 6k body on board, it's pretty good. It really is, especially considering we have other cards to add in this deck as well, such as Pudding and all that sort of thing. But in any case, we're going to play a bunch of games today and see what we can do. We'll probably get in maybe 10 games, maybe, I don't know, depending on how long these are. We are playing against a yellow-black Luffy, which I am not looking forward to by any means, but this should be an easier game than you might think. Depending on how, I guess, his deck is built. He might be cooking, I don't know. We'll see. He already started off with a Viola to go ahead and rearrange my life, which as blue, as Dofi here, I don't care. Like, I don't really worry about what these life cards are. As long as it has a counter on it, key moments, that's fine. We don't play with a lot of triggers here in this deck at all, so it's totally okay with me. I've also noticed in this matchup here, I'm free to play down whatever card I want or whenever I want to, because he doesn't play with removal. So that's also something to keep in mind. Alright, so we've already stacked our life here. Not life. I don't know why I keep saying that. I'm so used to playing yellow when it comes to Yamato. But let's go 7. Let's do the thing. Get the Jinbei down. I do think Jinbei here in this matchup can be pretty good, considering that if he decides to attack into it, I can remove blockers. Which I think he only plays like Sabo, Viola, if I'm correct. But I mean, there are some weird stuff out there, so you never know. I do like this, though. This is actually a really, really good stack here. We can draw into the 2k Kaya, and then we can trigger the Weevil offer leader ability to draw into another card, which is really, really nice here. And we have the pudding to go for game. That also might confuse you guys sometimes, where this deck, just like Enel, they love taking life early for whatever reason. It gets them to their leader ability earlier, and Enel has other cards that he can play, such as like I Am God, Raigo, all that sort of thing. But when it comes to Luffy, he loves taking his life early. Here we go. That way he can start his leader ability and cycling through 5-drops. There are certain moments, just like this here, where we have a pudding in hand. When we want to go for game, we can go ahead and just cycle through all the cards he decides to draw. And hopefully it works in our favor. Because there are going to be moments where he's going to be a 7k or a 9k body with his leader ability. So I'm kind of inclined to take this one, though. I don't want to give him 2 cards in hand here. We get another blocker, which is not too bad. Remember, Weevil's on stack right now. And I can just play him down willy-nilly without having to worry about, removal here. Saving Jinbei might not be too bad, because I want him to play cards from his hand to force his Dawn investment. That way he can actually take the life. We'll leave him at 1. And then we can play down another blocker here, if need be. Or you play down Perona. That's fine with me. Get rid of little ones. I don't care. 1 more card, bud. Nice. It might be better just to play the Dofi. That way we have a blocker here to protect Weevil. So we're going in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can draw into... We already have Pudding, so we don't need that for now. Moria would be pretty nice. That way he can get back the 2k counter, be it the Mihawk. We can draw into the Pudding, or we can draw into the Kaido. I think leaving the Kaido the way it is there was not necessarily too bad. Let's hope I remember. So Sanji in this deck is kind of interesting to me. He's played a lot of small bodies on board that allows him to take life, which is okay. But we're on turn 4 already, and this is all that we've seen him play. He hasn't really made like an approach in our to deal damage or anything other than the leader swing, which is really good. And we have quite a bit of cards in hand, so I think we're ready to go. That's probably going to be like maybe an Onami or Kikinojo. I don't know if he runs both of those, but you never know. I see he's running Sanji in this variant, so that's something that could be pretty spicy. We'll block out. I don't know why he thought he was going to be able to get my Weevil here for free. That's crazy. Let's see. Remember, we put in the... I think we put in Weevil on top of life. Or top of deck, sorry. I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah, cool. Draw into another Pudding. Which is kind of irrelevant, but it has the 1k counter right now. I only need to use her when I'm going for game this match. Amaru. Okay. I'm totally okay with that. 4 Dawn left to play with. I think we can play down Boa here. That way we have 2 blockers to protect our Weevils. Let's go 5 again. There's no way he lets me have this. Okay, alright. You are in trouble. Because we have technically, what, 5 attackers if we choose to. And that's including Dofi. We can replace the Perona here. Get ourselves another blocker down to make sure both our Weevils are safe. And that way we don't have to start dumping cards from hand. We have a few 2k counters, it's not too many. If he decides to activate his leader ability and swing heavy. He needs to see Sabo here at the very least. But I really don't think it matters. Even if he does his leader ability here. With the amount of cards that he has in hand, he has to discard 1 for the skill, right? Grabs 2 5-drops, puts on life. And we have quite a bit of swings here. With him having 4 cards left in hand. So both of those are Luffy's, alright. That's cool. I'd imagine he doesn't play any down, but we'll see. Just going 9k, alright. That's a little silly to me. We can counter out here. That way we have the body still on board to go for face next turn. It doesn't look like he's got any baby Luffy's here, which is really, really good. Going in at Weevil 2, I assume? Yep. Well, this was an unfortunate match for, I guess, this Luffy player. I mean, he did see all the pieces to remove the life. Just unfortunately, like, didn't really matter too much. Especially considering we have so many big bodies on board. Even if he was able to get a, you know, the 7k body here for a leader, that puts him down to 1 life, and he still has to deal with all these attackers. I really don't need the Kaido, and I should have attacked first, so now I can't cancel it. Guess we'll just get rid of Boa, I suppose. We'll bounce this back to hand, and the Hiyori. No, actually, never mind. We won't bounce anything else. I can't bounce Hiyori anyway. I guess I could, but it's a 2k counter. Here, let me get it. Thank you. Cool. 3 cards left in hand. Does he have enough? Okay. So we should be able to win game here, I think. Or sorry, we can't win game. Next turn we can win game. Math is hard. Come on, bud. You either have it or you don't. Thank you. Try this again. Nice. So that tells me he has no counter in hand right now. Oof. Gecko in trash as well. If he did have Gecko here, this would be pretty huge. I really hope he doesn't. 7. Okay. 8 Dawn left. What are you doing? Nothing. He did have Gecko. Crazy. We're gonna keep him coming. Rapid fire. Let's go, 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 go. Coming at you guys again with another Dofi match playing into Enel here today. In which this is one of the big bads in the format. So I don't really expect to do all too well. If we get up to 9 Dawn. Or 8 Dawn, I guess. If he's running Big Mom, 7 Dawn. But yeah. I'm hoping to do pretty well. Actually, this is a pretty solid hit, to be fair. We have the 2k counter in hand. We can guard out the first big swing of Enel. We have the Dofi that's changed for the next one as well. So we can draw into Dofi and then kick the Jinbei on board. We have the blocker for the following turn. He doesn't normally play a lot of cards down on 3 Dawn, so I'm guessing he's just going to go face, unless he's running Parasparrow here. He's going to go 6. I love to see it. Just give him the 2k. That way we can bring it back with Gecko Moria for later. Prona is also pretty good here. Or not Prona, Shirahoshi. But thankfully, with how Jinbei works into yellow, it's very, very good because it allows you to remove like the Violas, Shirahoshis when he goes to the trash. And they don't have any options to bottom deck. Oh, speaking of which. Thanks, buddy. Guess we'll just get rid of the Shirahoshi here, it's fine. So again, when he goes to the trash, you can place up to 1 character on your opponent's side of the field that has 3 costs or less to the bottom of the owner's deck, which is really good. We can get rid of 1 Moria, considering we have another one. I don't really want to go down too much life here, though. And I'm okay with taking this first hit, I guess. Speaking of Moria, I guess let's draw into another one. Let's check what we got here. There's a pudding. Actually, this isn't too bad. Yeah, we can draw into that, the 2k counter, and then we have the Kaido as well. Let's change this a little bit. This will be fine. The Duval will really come in handy as well for being another blocker. Let's kick this on board to get the pudding. Most of Nels kind of opt to take damage early, so pudding should be really, really good here. No, you cannot have that for free. I am sorry. Get rid of 1 Moria here. Oh, that's a problem. Oof. I did not see that coming. Sure. Okay, another 2k counter. I already forgot what I put there, I'm not gonna lie to you. What was it? Dofi? I don't remember. Ah, Duval. Okay. Yeah, that's my bad. I totally forgot what it was. And I should have attacked the Gedetsu there instead of the ace with Doflamingo. It's all good. It's okay. Misplays happen. It's fine. We'll be alright. We'll be okay. Alright. Aggressive. Taking life away. That's obviously like a Onami or Kikinojo here. Yep, you got it. There's going to be a lot of damage my way, which I don't want to deal with. And we got double Kaido in hand too, which is kind of crazy. Nah, you can't have this. Do we just drop it? You just go for it? No, it's not. I don't know. I don't think that's smart. Because I think if we play it, he goes 3 damage to face. We can bring the Moria on board. Draw into the Duval, just for having another blocker. Spending 2. Let's go 7 here. Do the thing. Okay, so he let us have that, which is really, really good. I either established Boa blocker. Trash life, of course. Don't want to give him another one for free. Protect our Moria at all costs, boys. Alright, so we get the Duval. Let's do the thing. Let's get back another blocker with Dofi, because this allows us to cycle the top 5 again. We can do this first, do the Dofi ability. Oh, this is nice, actually. Drawing this as well. We don't really need the Kaido right now. I think just getting bodies on board is a little bit better, considering we can just establish blockers and then get free bodies off top of life. Just go 6 here first. Get that, draw another one. Yep, sure. Alright, now considering the Moria and the Weevil are at 6k, he's going to have to invest Dawn before he can pop everything. Oh wow. So that means he's not going to be able to get both of these this turn. We could dump our whole hand here, really. And then just push for game next turn. I don't think that's a bad play, but we'll see. Give him that as well. Because he only has 4 cards, so what really does he do here? Oof. I could Kaido the Big Mom. Which kind of sounds bad, but he'll have to play it down again. And I really don't want to do that. So I think just going face is probably the better play. It really just forces him to show his hand, essentially. Otherwise he loses. Just go 8 here. Nice. Please don't be a 0 cost event. Don't be a 0 cost event. You don't need it. Come on. I'm slowly thinking we got there, boys. You're stalling me out right now, but I think we got there. Ooh. This is big risk, but I really have nothing else to do. Nice, let's go. You guys can't even be mad at me for that game, by the way. Like, I don't think you can. Even though Enel did actually get the beige, or the Beji, it just, oof. It feels nice to watch yellow decks not win off a trigger, you know what I mean? Feels real good. But in any case, we're coming at you guys with another game with Dofi, playing into RP Law, in which this is another big bad in the format, just like Enel. And Shiraya is going to be a problem here, that's for sure. Because I have to swing 7k to do my leader ability, and he just blocks for 7 and gives him +1. And then all my other bodies can't really go into him. but I do think guarding early here might save me a little bit. So I want to stabilize first, get a lot of bodies on board before we drop Kaido down. And considering Kaido's a 12k, it might eat up a lot of removal, which I'm totally okay with because it uses removal on that instead of my other small units, I guess. But we'll see how it goes. We might not even get there. Oof. This is a big risk too. Just go 5 here. We have an option to drop down Moria and or Edward Weevil here. I guess next turn we can do the Dofi thing to set up the life, or to set up the deck. Weevil into Weevil, that kind of sucks. But what are you going to do? Alright, so he already has Kid. No removal this turn, which I'm okay with. So he gets to live at least 1 turn. Okay. Reiju draws more cards. You're so cool, buddy. You're so cool. We get a Kaya off that, which is really nice. And another Kaya as well. Alright, do the Dofi thing. This allows me to have 3 Dons do my leader ability. Oh, this ain't bad. This ain't bad at all. Perhaps taking the Gecko Moria is probably the better play. It makes him have to have a Gordon or a Max to remove it. But then taking the other one here allows us to get the Boa back from the trash. But yeah, that's a problem. The Soraya is going to be a pain in the butt to deal with. Takes this one, that's cool. I feel like most laws kind of take the 1 and or the 2nd life for free a lot of the times. So I never really try to like overcommit. Another blocker. This is those matchups where you really need to see like Raging Tiger to go for game. This is going to be a pain to deal with. So I need to see Dofi and or Mihawks here soon. Because we're going in curve here next turn. Well, we'll be at 8 Don, but that's enough to play at least Doflamingo. Another Reiju. Sees 3 blockers. And drew a whole lot of cards this game. Like, he's doing well. That's for sure. But now it comes down to him attacking with blockers and or Soraya. Because I think if I start going 6s, maybe, just maybe, he'll just give me cards in hand. We get the Kaido here as well. Let's go 7 face. Let's drop the Moria on board. And one of the cool things about that is the only way he's going to remove my bodies is him playing Gordons down or Laws to do so, right? Or he has to don up the Reijus, because I don't think he's going to be swinging with Kid anytime soon. And he's definitely not swinging with Kid if I put him at a unfavorable board state. That being an 8k is just oof. We'll go 7 here. Alright, so we got 1 out of the way. Let's get down this on board. Draws into another 2k counter, which is really, really good here. Everything in hand has a counter other than Kaido. There's a Max. I imagine he removes the 6k body. Yep. Cool. Plays Queen as well. Okay. So Weevil should be gone here. Are you gonna bot deck it, or what's going on here? Okay, he's just going 5. There's no way he doesn't bottom deck it, I guess, right? Jinbei's probably not going to get value in this matchup. He would against Soraya, but he just gets bottom decked instead of KO'd. Yep. Speaking of Weevil, I guess he's gone. Sorry, buddy. You did well.
Kid and Killer, sure, but I'm still at 4 life, so you're only swinging for 5 here. Just hope you know that. You have 2 Dawn left. Okay. Do this, because we don't need him right now. Alright, so we get a Pudding here as well, which is really solid. Another Gym Bag, don't need him at all. Can't really escape him right now, to be fair. Kaido would be pretty good here. We can play him down, pop a Kid back to hand, so it's a pretty big tempo change. He's only at 4 Dawn. So if he opts to play down the Kid again, that gives him 1 Dawn left to play with for the next turn. Sure? Alright, so we get the 2k from hand. Or the 1k from hand, sorry. Queen goes bye-bye. Let's try to remove the killer as well. Alright, that's fair. As much as I want to attach the Dawn, it does make sense to do so, but we can't play Kaido at that point if we decide to go that way. I think having the 10 drop here for Kaido is probably pretty valuable. Alright, let's go ahead and go 5 into killer then, I guess. There's no way we get it. Oops. Well, it happens. What do you want me to do? That was bad. I meant to click killer. I have no idea why I clicked Kid. It happens. Misplays were made. Let's just drop the Kaido then, I guess. We'll bounce back a Kid, and we'll pass the turn. This just really makes him have to play down the Kid again. At least I hope so. And not have any Dawn left over, which is kind of nice. He'll have 1 left to play with. And we're still not at 2 life, so Kid and Killer isn't active just yet. We have quite a bit of counter in hand. I think we're chilling, guys. There's the Kid. Just trying to figure out how we get around this without seeing Raging Tiger. We are still at 3 life, which is really nice. 6 into that. I can't allow you to have it, sorry. Like I said, eventually he's going to have to attack with his blockers to actually pressure me more. Just going 6 and 7k with Law really isn't just going to cut it. Wow. Okay. No, sorry, you can't. Send the kids in. Let's go. You won't. Uh-oh. Another Shiraya. Man, you're cool. I feel like we've seen all these Law decks before. They only play like one way. It's kind of crazy to me. Alright, he's going in. He's going in. And, sorry, you can't have this for free. Try again. Come on, use the other Kid. Dang. We might be able to get around through blockers, though. We might be able to do it. We have to clear board, I think, at the very least. We've got a couple 7Ks here on board as well, with attaching the Morias. Let's get that back from trash. That's really cool, isn't it? The way that works. We have to go 6 at least. Let's go 6 in the Kid. I don't really want to attack his face right now, because I feel like he'd just give me the life. I'd rather clear board first. Surprising. So either the cards in hand have no counter, or he just didn't care about it right then and there. I still can't use Dofia ability if I play this on board, by the way, which is not great. I kind of want to get value with it, if being honest. Does he have the counter? Okay, maybe he doesn't have counter. We've got to go 6 at least here. Stack these up again. I won't be able to trigger anything right now because I don't have the extra Dawn. But at least next turn I can draw into the Mihawk and then kick a Dofi on board if need be. We'll go 7 here. Yep, sure. So we get a Beppo out of that, which isn't too bad. He's got 4 cards left. Kaido is a problem. He has to remove the Kaido. I couldn't really attack with it there because he had another Shiraya up, which did suck. Bro, you're gonna need a lot more than that. There's no shot. You know what, Law? I hope you have a minor inconvenience, alright? Like stepping on Legos. That'd be great. 10 out of 10. Couldn't even survive 1 turn with Kaido on board. That's crazy. No cards in hand, though. I'm at 3 life. He still has 5 Dawn to play with. Oh. Okay, well, good game. You lost. Thanks for playing. Bro, you got 5 attackers here. We'll take all these hits, besides obviously the last one. Because my man is just giving me counters off life, which is great. Ooh. We'll bot deck that. You thought. That's right. We did that. We won because Raging Tiger. No, like, realistically, I don't think it mattered. Considering the fact that he decided to do something like that, it was kind of crazy to me. Because we really only had to guard 1 hit there. And now this game should be a wrap. We saw no big body units here other than 1 Kaido. So, perhaps that's all we needed. We can do the Dofi thing, take the Weevil. Actually, it doesn't even matter, we just won game here. I don't even know why I attached on. Sure. Get the other 2K. Thanks for playing, buddy. It was a lot of fun. And, good game. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we'll probably play this one here, then maybe like 2 more games. Because for whatever reason, we played this match earlier. This is our second game against this guy. He won the first one, but for whatever reason, we had no volume. We played against an Nell earlier, which I am going to showcase. That match also had no volume. I forgot to click the button. So, I'll have to figure that out. But the first matchup, hats off to him. He did really, really well. He got the Douglas Bullet down. This is my exact Dofi build, by the way, which I thought was pretty cool. But he got the Douglas Bullet down, and he rested a lot of my stuff. He saw Birdcage early. And I think in this matchup here, it favors Blue-Purple Dofi if he sees Cage, considering the way that our leader ability works here as Blue Dofi, because we bring everything on board already rested. So, yeah. But overall, I had fun on both matchups. He was a really, really cool guy. So, I mean, if you do see this video, man, hats off to you. Keep it up. I'm glad you're enjoying playing Purple Green Dofi. It's a lot of fun. In any case, let's dive into this game here. We're going to have to play around Sugar. And it's going to be a pain in the butt, considering that whatever I put on board, Sugar can just rest. Now, Sugar cannot rest one of my other units that I trigger off my leader skill, which is kind of nice. We'll get this, do the thing. Considering it already comes in rested, you know what I mean? So there's that. Pass it up. But we still have to deal with this Sugar somehow, shape, or form. I need something that's cheap that I can play down to attack into it. Another baby 5. There's the Cage. Alright, so all of my small bodies aren't going to get value here at all in this match now. Especially with Sugar being down. We're going to have to kick it to hand, I think. And then we can play around Birdcage this way, just by playing big bodies instead. Come on. Give me the event. Let's go. You won't. Alright, gave me the 2k counter, which isn't too bad. I was hoping for the event in hand, considering he left up 2 Dawn with his leader ability. But perhaps he's saving that for later. We're going to have to start going 9Ks here. Ooh, I am so sorry. I apologize. This is about to feel real bad. Because we have the Mihawk to bounce the Diamante. But I think we'll save the Mihawk for later. And we'll just drop down another Dofi to kick this one back to hand. To slow his tempo game down again. Because instead of developing something else on board, he'll want to play down the Diamante to have it block and restand with Birdcage, I think. And we have extra Dawn to swing. Because we need extra Dawn to swing over, you know, bigger numbers here. He does run events in this deck. Let's go down and do this. Hey boys, we got the thing. We did the thing. We can draw into Mihawk, draw into Sanji, kick the Mihawk on board. Draw into the Kaya, and we'll do it like that. And we can do leader skill to play Moria if need be. Let's pop this. Actually, why did I do that? Why did I do that? It doesn't make any sense considering Birdcage is on board. I guess I'm just so used to trying to remove the searchers. I don't know. But that's okay. I don't think I would have got the attack through anyway. Yeah, I wouldn't have. But I would at least got at least one more counter from hand, so misplays were made. He's at 10 here as well, so this could be a Dofi play. But if he plays Dofi, Cage drops. Hey, we got the Mihawk though. We're still cooking. Gets a sugar down as well. The bad part about it is, if we play down the Mihawk, we can bounce back the kid to hands, but he's able to do the whole resting thing with sugar. Let's do it like this first. Sugar activates first, and then Mihawk can go. There's a weird interaction here. Yep, sure. So he rested a Dofi, which is smart because I can't attack with him now. We get rid of the sugar, we go 7k to face. Let me get that 2k counter. Oh. Alright. Wonder why he opted to take that hit. There's no way his hand's bad. He's got quite a bit of cards right now. Yeah, there's the Dofi. Cage will pop this turn. We'll counter out here. We still have 5 life, by the way. Just noticed that. Draw another Kaya. Let's start going big here. We can go 12, and then 12 with Hawk as well. This way, next turn we should be able to put this game away. Because he needs events and then 3 counter, or 4 counter after that to protect the life here. So that's an off-white. Yep. And this should be a guaranteed damage. So far, so good. Thankfully, we saw a lot of big bodies this time around. Because the first game, like I said, we didn't see much of anything. Let's see. He got another 10 drop. Which that'll be for next turn, but he won't make it there. He needs blockers on board to survive. On top of events. So I think it's over here. I was gonna say I don't know why he hesitated here. We have just enough. It was smart for him to kill that instead of like a 7 drop. Considering a 7 drop's a little bit easier to deal with one event. Let's bounce this back to the bottom of the deck. And it's time to go for game. Yeah, but this deck can be pretty crazy sometimes, trying to tell you. Especially when the tempo hits, it really hits. Because we're able to just bottom deck or bounce stuff back to hand willy-nilly without having to worry about having that event. Okay. That was good. I see what he wanted to do there. But yeah, that was a really, really good play there. I see what he wanted to do with the Diamante was to block out and then spiderweb the restand it to block another swing. That was really solid. Unfortunately, we had the Hawk ready to go, so, you know. But I did see what you were trying to do. I really like it. Hopefully you do keep playing that Dofi build. It's a lot of fun, man. I appreciate you for tuning in and watching the content and all that sort of thing. It was fun playing against you. Well, we got to go ahead and dive into a couple other games here, playing against Moria this time around. In this matchup, I've learned that just playing bodies on board really just hampers this deck. Like 100%. Like playing 6Ks after 6Ks after 6Ks down, he really has to see key pieces just to remove you. And we're talking about blue cheese and Absalons, essentially. Which is okay, considering in the late game, we get that Sanji and the Mihawk combo. It's just way too much for him to deal with, even if he sees Moria sometimes, because we can just bottom deck the blockers and go face. Speaking of Perona, we'll just get rid of the Weevil. Sadly enough, we don't have a Moria to just bounce it back, but, you know, it's fine. It works out. Let's drop Duval down first. Hey, let's go, boys. I guess we can get that Weevil back. Let's go 7, do the thing, draw this out of the trash. And in case he has another Perona, now we have another discard card. Nice. We'll go 6 here as well. Okay, I get the 2K counter, which is kind of cool. 6 cards left in hand to deal with. I'm trying to get in as much damage as I possibly can before he can, you know, stabilize with Gecko Moria. I want to pressure him and force him to actually play Gecko and go defensive with like blockers on board. But he has no Rebekahs here in trash. He has a bunch of Navy removal. So he could do something like Gecko, Lucci, and like Suru or Hemepo to pop something. But I want him to start investing Dawn in his characters to try to remove my stuff here. At the very least. You can't have Weevil for free, man. I'm sorry. Just you can't. No. That's it. Alright, here's the Borsalino. I need to see a Dofi here. Nope. Hey, we get a Pudding, though, so that's not bad. So we can stack the Weevil to draw into a Pudding. And then we can draw into a 2K counter here with Kaya, right? And then we can go ahead and throw down a Moria on top, which is pretty solid. So let's do the thing. I probably should have went 8K here, but it's okay. We'll do this, replace the Perona, draw a Pudding. So this makes him make a choice. Either block out Borsalino and give me a 2K or take the damage. Because if he doesn't block... Ooh, man, you just got rid of more cards in hand. That's crazy. That's wild. Alright, go 6. Yep. My man is cooked now. That's crazy. 2 life left. You might not even have to Pudding him. He is at 8 though. So I'm going to assume he has a Moria in hand. But I don't think it's going to help him much. I don't know what these other cards are, which does suck. Like, we were on a rhythm where certain attacks were going through and he didn't counter out like a 6Ks and 6Ks. That gave me the impression he didn't have 2K counters. Yep, there's a Lucci. Sure. So he has to pop a 6K on board here. That just seems like the logical thing to do. Because we have 2 blockers up. Okay, so he's out. We have Dofi and Duval to deal with the blocker for the 9K. For the next turn. Puts Ice Ages on bottom, sure. I imagine he's going to get a Perona from trash. Like, that's my guess. He needs some more 2Ks here. Alright, so that's gone. And that's gone. Sorry, Duval. You did your thing, man. I appreciate you. 5K here. We'll counter out. We still have another Dofi, so I'm not really worried about that too much. You can't have that, sorry. We don't need Pudding anymore. So we get another Kaya here. Remember that we stacked it we stacked the deck that way. Let's go ahead and do the thing. This 8K should be guaranteed. We get another body on board. Unless he just wants to give me the Borsalino here. I'll take that too. Nice. We might just have game here. It's going to be risky, but we might have game. We go 6 and 6. Does he have the counter? Okay. Huh. I don't know if I would have done that. Because now I'm hitting you with a 7k. It's just going to go through. I think I would have just blocked with Borsalino and kept the Absalon. And just let the Borsalino go to trash there in that scenario. So now our only option is to drop another Dofi down. We have 6k counter in hands. But if we do this and fail, he clears board and plays down another blocker, then wins. Okay. Dang, man, we tried it. We have a bit of counter here. We might be able to survive. We need at least to bring up like 1 unit for next turn. 2 would be nice. I'll try to protect out for Weevil and Gecko Moria if I can. I don't see this man swinging with Borsalino at all this time around. I think it'll just be Gecko Moria leader and then the other Perona. This I think I have to give him. Because if I give him 2 2Ks, then he gets another body for free at that point. Because he could go 9k with lead to swing on something as well. And I want to be able to protect at least one of these. Okay, 7. Oof. We'll guard out. I think I would have went for the 5 drop there, or the 5k, instead of the 6k with Perona. I think mathematically that made more sense. He's about to do the same thing, isn't he? There's no shot you don't go for the 5. The game broke. He was using the leader skill with I guess, hog back. Which is fine. He drew Gecko Moria from trash, and he discarded a Helmeppo from hand. Which I feel like that's a little silly as well, because that leaves, you know, less counter for him. And he's not going to survive next turn anyway to play down the Gecko Moria, so I don't know why he decided to do that. But that's cool with me, man. That's fine. That tells me he doesn't have another blocker in hand, so no Rebecca, no Borsalino. 1 less counter to deal with. He draws a 2k. Goes 6 here. We will counter out this one, and his Moria should be able to pick off our 6k body. At the very least. Yo, I don't know why I didn't counter that. Oof, mistakes were made. Yep. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't drop my counters there. That was bad. I should have did that. I said I was going to, then I totally didn't do it. Come on here, man. Yep, you got it. That really sucks. Now, if we don't win next turn for that misplay, dude, that'd be pretty bad. That'd feel awful. So I think we can go 10k and then 9k. There's no other way to split this. I think we go 10k first with the small Dofi, and then we'll just go 9k with lead. I think doing 10k here, this will either he has the counter or doesn't have the counter. I think he has to block here. We know he has a 2k with the Perona. Can we get there? By the way, we did all this without seeing any big bodies hit the board. It's kind of wild. Right? Come on. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive into our last game of the day. Come at you guys with Doflamingo, playing into Yellow Enel. I don't know why I said Yellow Enel. But playing into Enel today. In which this is going to be one of the big bads here in the format. I do hope we can do well against this one. I'm kind of... Wow, okay, cool. Yep, Shirahoshi right off the rip. Didn't see that coming. Let's get down the Dofi. Ooh, we get the pudding here as well, which is really nice. We get the Sanji and the Mihawk. We can draw into the pudding. Get the Jinbei on board. Draw into a Kaya and do it like this. pudding should really help out in this matchup when we want to go for game. I'm going to pass turn back over. Now, do keep in mind that most of the time, as a Nell, he kind of just takes life early, which is really good in our favor, considering we are playing blue. So having the pudding drop might hurt him quite a bit. I'm sorry, there's an ice cream truck outside. I probably won't remember to edit that out. So if you guys hear that, I'm sorry. Hopefully it goes by soon. Goodness. Alright, Shirahoshi ripped the life, no problem. Yep. Well, that's already set up. So what could that be? It can't be a Kikinojo. I mean, I guess it could, but it won't be able to trigger because I'm at 5 life. So maybe it's an Onami or another Shirahoshi. Oh well. We'll have to go for it anyway. It doesn't really matter at this point. We can save the 3 for the Dofi and just go 7 here. Plop a Jinbei on board. Oh, I forgot about that. Never mind. So we can't use the Dofi. That's fine. Hey, it was an Onami. We can't remove the Shirahoshi. That would be nice. So he does have a target to kick back to life if he wants to with Katakuri, if he gets to that point. Surely hope not, but, you know, we all seen it before. He has 9 cards in hand, just goes 5, with 6 Dawn open. I kind of just wanted to take this hit, because it still puts us at 4. Ripping another life is kind of crazy to me, but okay. Sure. And plays nothing. Alright. You're gonna learn today. You're gonna learn today, buddy. Okay, so remember the next card that we draw is gonna be a Kaya. If I remember correctly. Let's see what he wants to do here. He's got 4 Dawn open. Let's just go 5 face. If he blocks... Okay, so he blocks out. So maybe that's a trigger, I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and rearrange these cards here just slightly. Because we're at... No, actually we don't have to move them. The Moria here, this looks pretty good. Could we draw into the Sanji? We can kick the Mihawk on board. Gedetsu, okay, pops the pudding. We're in turn 4 and he's still playing down Gedetsu, it's kind of crazy. But that pudding might have really changed the game heavily in my favor. We'll do the thing, bottom deck that, go 5 the face again. You want to give me that life again? Thank you. What is it? No trigger that time. He planted that, so I don't really know what it was, or why it was there if he didn't activate the trigger. Yamato might be an issue, but I think we can get around it. Remember, we have another pudding here now, which is really, really good. Let's do it like this. Let's sort this up. Drawing the Moria wouldn't be too bad. I don't think Boa is going to get a lot of value right now. But just having another blocker might be able to save me for a turn. Because I also think that if we do the Boa thing, he might be opted to attack into it. A lot of players typically do things like that. Which isn't too bad. So if we leave the Boa on top, we can draw into the Dofi. Let's try it like this, though. Let's try it like this. Getting the 2k counter is not bad either, because we don't have that many in hand, besides 2. He takes this one as well. Do you have enough counter for this? Can we get him down to 0 life? Oh, Kikinojo. Cool. I don't think that matters whether or not he has that or not on board. Okay. Maybe the one he planted earlier was the Satori. He didn't want to throw away a Veggie there. Maybe. Or maybe it was Veggie. I don't know. We lose the Mihawk, do the Raigo. We can guard out the Boa here. That might have been a silly play. I probably shouldn't have done that. Because you can just kill it with the Yamato. Or Leader. But yeah, that was probably dumb. Even if we block with Dofi, he still kills it with Yamato. Yep. That's fine. But that's all your resources, so we'll take those. I think I might have went 6 with an L into the Boa instead of 8, and then put the other Don on Yamato to go into the Sanji. Maybe that's what I would have done. But perhaps doing it his way is the correct way. I guess I'd have to know what's in his hand. Okay, 3-way Gadetsu for this. 7, 8, 9. We go 9 here, then 10 with Sanji. This should be game. Yeah, there's no way he gets around this, even with a 0-cost event in a 2K. Never mind. 0-cost event. Oh boy. Take out the Yamato. Cool, thanks, bud. We still have 3 life, so I think we're okay. He needs blockers here. So, like, he needs a Sanji down and then a Sanji from life to probably survive this game. 5. We can guard out with Duval. You can't have this, I'm sorry. I said no. No means no. I thought the game was over, but Katakuri doing Katakuri things. Here we go. Alright. I don't think I would have done that, but okay. Oof. I mean, we can just go 5, right? Do the first damage. Okay, no trigger. Drop this down. We could take the Boa here as well, or we could just ignore all this, because I don't think we need any of these, realistically. But organize them is still probably the thing to do. Just in case. Could be another 0-cost event, we don't know yet. Let's go 7. Sure. Draws 3, trashes 2, right? So that means he has 1 card left. Yeah, this game's over. We got there, boys. Unless that's the 0-cost. Nice. Good game.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the end of the video in which we talk about the deck list and all that sort of thing. But before we get into that, I want to go ahead and apologize. Yeah, again, for whatever reason, I didn't notice that we didn't have the volume on. I know some people like to listen to the music, some people don't. I think I would love to add in other music into the videos, into the background. I'll be looking into it. I haven't decided on how I'm going to go about it because, you know, copyright and all that sort of thing. But that's something for me to worry about. In any case, I'll figure it out how to include music into that Enel match. And it might just be the music that you hear here. Overall, though, we had a lot of fun with Dofi. I do hope you guys are going to be picking up this deck in OP07 and or playing it currently in EB01. This deck really gets a huge power boost in OP07. It becomes a monster. We get a lot more cards. It'll be a lot more consistent. We gain access to some of the new cards, being Boa, which is going to be really, really good here in this deck on curve. Now, with that being said, though, Boa herself is going to be another very, very strong deck when it comes to control for blue. So stay tuned for that one. That's coming soon here on the channel. But overall, Dofi, OP07, you better be there. I'll be there. You'll see a new list here soon when it comes to what I'm going to be running. I do hope you guys check it out. In any case, for all you new players out there who are interested in picking up this leader, getting prepared for OP07, or wanting to, you know, learn how to play this leader now, feel free, watch the video, look down in the comment section. We have a lot of helpful people out there who are very, very much willing to help you out with any questions you need, share their tips and tricks, let you know their deck list, all that sort of thing. But this has been Pawseplays. Remember to smash that like button so we get these videos floating around. This was a lot of fun. Both of these variations, very, very solid. This one's a more aggressive build with the Sanji and the Mihawk, allowing you to want to go first more often than this one particularly, which opts to go second just because of the Kaido plays. Both decks are very, very fun, very, very strong. But overall, hopefully you guys enjoy your day. Have a happy weekend. Be safe out there. And I will catch you guys at locals and or see you in the next one. I'm gonna head out.